She fainted at the rancher's door. After 3 days, no food until he lifted her and said, "You're home now." Wyoming Territory, noviembre de 1878. The first snowstorm of the season swept across the valley like a pale tide, erasing the line between earth and sky. Wind screamed through the cottonwoods and battered the hillside with fists of sleet. Beneath that brutal sky, a figure moved, staggering, barefoot, torn dress whipping around her like the remnants of a lost flag. Desmayó, 22, ante. Eaten in 3 days. Hunger no longer stabbed. It had dulled into something colder, something quieter. Her fingers blew at the tips, scraped along the stone face of the ridge, as she stumbled downward toward the only light in the valley, a flickering lantern in a cabin window. She reached the porch on shaking legs. Her lips cracked and silent, barely moved as she raised her hand. One knock, a pause, 2 more. Then nothing. Her knees gave out. Her body dropped sideways with the weight of winter and desperation. Her head struck the step. Snow gathered along the folds of her torn shawl as if to bury her gently. The door creaked open. Kathy Harlan stood in the doorway. 32, lean with the look of a man carved from the land he worked. His eyes dark as wet stone, scanned the porch, and landed on the collapsed form in the snow. He did not speak. He did not shout for help. He moved. In 2 strides, he was beside her. His hand touched the side of her face, felt the ghost of breath still there. Her skin was cold, but not lifeless. Without a word, he bent down and lifted her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. Kathy carried her inside, the wind slamming the door shut behind him. He crossed the room, past the hearth, where the fire whispered, and laid her on the bench near the warmth. He removed his heavy coat and draped it over her with surprising gentleness. Her dress was soaked, her feet raw. He looked at her a long moment, then whispered more to the room than to her. "You're home now." "We's just a look. We clean together," he said. "This nadie." Later, as the fire died down and Kate carried Ruby to bed, Noah paused beside Tess. He looked up, awkward and a little shy. "My bow worked today." "I know," Tess said. "You shot straight." Noah gave a half smile. "I might let you fix it again sometime." This ruffled his hair. "Ella be here." As he slipped into the bedroom, Tess looked around the cabin at the worn table, the broom leaning by the wall, the faint smell of honey in the air. It was not her home, but tonight it did not feel like someone else's either. The morning air was crisp with frost when the rider arrived at the Harlan gate. Snow lay thick across the fence posts, and the hush of winter seemed to deepen as the stranger pulled his horse to a stop. He wore a long coat damp with sleet and in his gloved hand he held a battered sheet of paper. Kate Harlan, standing in the barnyard, paused his work and watched the newcomer approach. "You, Kathy." "Aaron," the man called, his voice edged with business. Kate set aside his hammer and faced him. "Who wants to know?" The hunter flicked the paper free and tossed it toward the cabin doorway. The wind caught it and it spun in the air before landing heavy and creased on the snow. Kathy caught it and recognized the font. Tess Whitlow Aunca's face stared from the page and bold letters declared wanted accomplice to estate conversion fraud. Underneath smaller print named. "Here an offered reward." The man spat, "You've got 24 hours to hand her over. I'm paid to deliver her, dead or alive." From the cabin door stepped a boy, 9 years old, broad-shouldered for his age. Noah Harlan took a step forward, arms crossing his chest. "She didn't steal nothing," Noah said, his voice steady with an old gravity. The bounty hunter glanced at the boy, chuckled. "This kid's got guts. Tell you what, you can step aside or stay out of the way." Cat's eyes didn't leave the hunter. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me and..."